It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuche, and thanks a lot for joining us. It's been a very, very interesting week where Mr. President finally issued statements with regards to members of his cabinet who have had to either resign or drop out of the election season, basically. It's come with a lot of reactions, and especially with that of the central bank governor. We do hear that he may have also dropped out. A lot of these things are still very confusing. I say it's probably the most interesting election season we've ever had. We also have former President Goodluck Jonathan, who continues to be in and out of the conversation. All in all, it just shows us that these elections are going to be one for the books. I think for everybody what's most important is that everything ends on a note that's peaceful, and we get through February 2023 on a sound note. Speaking of candidates, someone who's also gotten into the race is the former chairman of the APC and former NLC president, Adams Oshiomhole, former Edo State governor. So they talk about, activism and politics will always be one that will always come out, and we're going to be talking about that on the show today. I have here with me Adetomo Onajobi, who's an activist herself. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So, first of all, before we get into the activist bits, I mean, this election cycle is, like I said, is pretty, I don't know, dramatic. I feel like there's something new every day. I was at an award ceremony yesterday, and there was a category for best drama. I said, maybe Nigerian politics should be winning it at this time. What are your thoughts on what's going on so far?
So basically, it's just like, it's a new dimension, and the interest is becoming more interesting and unbelievable. Like, people who we don't even think will be eyeing that seat are now coming out to say they're going there. Obviously, this just shows that everybody thinks that change is going to have to start from the top, and everybody wants to get there to be able to share their own quota of energy into the system. So let's watch. It's still too early.
Yeah.
More coming. So let's wait and watch.
Let's talk about I mean, we live at a time now where I say activists are endangered species, because everybody who's seen as an activist now, especially with our history in this country, is almost always second-guessed. What are your real intentions? Are you doing this for your personal gain? Are you trying to really fight for the people? What got you into this? Was this an organic sort of move into activism? Was this something you intentionally, went through because of how you felt about our situation in the country?
Okay, so basically, when you say activism, what does it basically mean? Yeah. It's like an agitation for what you know is supposed to be, what is right. And over the years, we've realized that the way the Nigerian politics goes is like once a party takes over, the other party just sleeps, and they are supposed to be, like tailing the government and then being on their neck.
Opposition.
Yeah. So the opposition doesn't even exist. That word doesn't even exist. So it's like, I'm a citizen of Nigeria. I know what my rights are. I know what I gave to the government. They tell us to come out to vote. So after the election, nothing happens. So we have to come out to speak. So in the course of speaking, it is either we say it aggressively, we say it to catch their attention, we say it either ways that they have to get it. And activism is just one of the fastest way to get the government's attention to do what they're supposed to do. So for me, the whole spirit woke up when I had a baby girl. Like, all my kids are boys. And I'm like, does this seem like this environment is safe for my child? Does this seem like this environment is safe for all our children, basically? And it's like, it's becoming a norm. And then the time has come where we just have to continue to agitate for what is right and let the government do it, because we have to create a better environment. If you're not a mother or you're not a parent, sometimes you don't understand how sensitive it is raising a child in an environment that is not safe, or there's no certainty for your children. So when you become a parent, particularly having a female child with everything that is going on, you just have to look for a way to get what is right for your child and for our children generally.
So when did this start for you?
I think it was during the NSAS. The whole agitation started during the NSAS, when I just felt like this thing is becoming like a scam, because all that time there was lockdown, and then I had this emergency in my ammonia plant, in my gas plant, and then I had to just leave the house. And leaving the house, I saw that we're on lockdown and everybody is at home, and basically the activities out there is just like there's nothing going on, So the government was still doing their own thing normally, and then we are just here, and I basically saw some police officers using government vehicles, to move passengers, and they were making money. And I'm like, excuse me, what's going on here? You told us there's lockdown. We are at home doing nothing, not earning anything. and you people are here, you know. And that time I was pregnant of my daughter, and then I had to accost the police officer. He cocked his gun like, well, I'm like, shoot how? I took it off him, and you know, everything blew up all over social media, and that was when everybody started saying, oh, okay, so this woman is really, really an activist. And then during the NSAS, my daughter was the same child that was raised up, you know, everywhere, and that rose a lot of national awareness, you know, so it became like an international concern for me. Like, we still understand that you always talk like you always talk. Now that you're even coming on the street and you're coming with a 3-month-old baby, this is something that is different. So everything just started about, you know, the NSAS and then the lockdown period.
Yeah. Were you ever interested in politics? Were you ever a political party member? What was life like before, like you said, the gun incident happened?
I'm not a politician, and I'm never interested in politics. But at one point, I've had to support, you know, people who have your own vision. Like, you feel, oh, if this person wins, this person can also be able to feel your pain and do what is supposed to be done. And I think that was during Jimmy Agbaje. You know, I was all out like, this guy is a pharmacist, and then, you know, our health system is down, the children are down in hospitals and all that. If this man wins, the health sector can begin to, you know, have a better face value and all of that. And that's the only time I've ever supported any candidate. But politics, no, yeah. I've never been.
So, but a video went viral recently where, you know, because for a lot of people, activism is activism. You're fighting for the people, regardless of who's in power, right? If you feel passionate about a cause, you're trying to, you know, make sure the government does their part. Especially like you said, if they campaign and make promises, it's their time to deliver on those promises. The government the party in government now is the APC. The party in government, when the NSAS happened, which you were very actively protesting against, is the APC. And we saw a video recently where you were endorsing the APC. And it got people wondering, you know, which is why I talk about skepticism with activism. What happened? How did you get there? Did you have a change of mind? Not saying that you don't have a right to, but did you have a change of mind, and what informed that video that we saw?
Okay, so basically, if you look at that video closely and you look at the way I agitate and the way I attack the government, a lot of people say, just Adeton, you're too rude. These people are old enough to be your father. You know, and I'm like, come, these are the same people we write petitions to. These are the same people we write letters to. You know, these are the same people we speak out to. We cry on their neck. I remember during the lockdown when they were breaking into homes and then raping children and all that. I don't know if you remember. I was on the national TV crying like, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, do something. People know, you don't get their attention when you come like you are a normal human being, because they feel like these people, they don't have a right to come and challenge us, you know, to come and tell us this is what they want. So I became a little bit more aggressive, and people say, you're insulting the governor and all that. And that has been my pattern, you know, and that pattern has put my life at a huge risk and my family life at a huge risk. So, you know, it's like my husband is from Lagos. I am not a Lagosian. My husband worked with the government closely, you know, and I'm like in the middle. All the royal fathers, whatever, I'm like my father-in-laws, and I'm like, I'm against their government, you know. So when I get home, the pressure be like, talk to your wife now, what does she want and all that, you know. Let's offer her this. Like, I would never bulge. So I said, okay, let's go another route. So I did a video, I said, Jagaban is a scam. According to, let it not be me alone, let it not be my opinion alone. According to our opinion, this man is a scam, his name is a scam, his education is a scam, his income is a scam. Nigeria itself is a scam. I had to first break down because sometimes when you're looking for solution, you have to first break down the problems. You know, so I had to first break all that down and said, okay, are we giving the country to this man who we feel is a scam? He suits the country? No. Everybody, go get your PVC. But you know the way social media is. People will not even patiently look at it all. And then the next thing I saw was, they've given just Adeton 100 million. She has bored. She's endorsing. I would never endorse Tinubu. I'm saying it loud and clear. He's my father. My husband worked for him closely. He's like my father-in-law. He owns Lagos State because this Lagos State practically belongs to one person. I call him my father, and he remains my father, but I would never support his political ambition. I would never do that.
Why?
Because I feel you lay the lives of people down for your own personal career. If you say you deserve to be the president, why didn't you come in at the right time? You used the whole nation to play a game. You used us to play chess. You waited and you try, like you're matching and patching and patching. Okay, you brought Buhari. Immediately after Buhari, I'm coming. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't know Buhari's mind. You don't know what his intentions were. And during the NSAS, when we, the youth, came out, when we wanted a better Nigeria, when we wanted our voice to be heard, you blanked out. You left us. Jagaban acted like he wasn't in existence. Whether they were using he was sick and all that. And at that time, I kept on talking, and all the messages I get, Baba said he's sick and you are insulting. You are sick does not mean you can't lend your support to the people.
I'm just trying to get something clear here, because I don't want to make this about a person in particular. Because
it was all about him, basically. It wasn't even about the party.
Yeah, the issue here for me is basically, you know, when the lines are blurred between activism and politics. I don't know whatever your personal issues are with him, but I'm just trying to understand, you know, the video, how do thousands of people misinterpret a video?
That's the
because
thing.
you lost over, I think, 10,000 followers.
No, 12.
About 12,000 followers.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
There must have been something.
Because when I came, the way I relayed the message sarcastically, people didn't get it. They just thought, Tonda will come and say, you this governor, your head is this. And today she's coming to say, let's endorse. People, a lot of people got it. I have 312,000 followers, and I lost 12,000. So it was like I lost the crowd, and the same people who understood me and still understand what I stand for still stayed back. And that's just the social media. Facebook, I didn't have that. I didn't lose one follower on Facebook. So everybody just thought this same tone that is always talking about Jagaban and his team and APC government and this dispensation like this. How come she's making a U-turn? They've paid her. No, I'm still me. I would never forget the wounds that we incurred during the NSAS. I would never forget how bad this country has been and is still at this point. And the point is, I will never jeopardize my family interest or personal interest for a national interest. So at this point, my stand is still, I would never endorse Jagaban to go for presidency. Other people can. I can decide to take my candidate tomorrow. But because I know how he has been in the journey of politics, I don't think I would want to. So a lot of people got it all wrong. Like, oh, she's made a U-turn, all this activism.
Do you think it's wrong for you to get involved in politics?
It's not wrong for me to get in politics. It's my right to get into politics. But
after being an activist?
No, I have a right to.
Whilst being an activist?
I have a right, but I think the problem with Nigerians is people feel because you're an activist, you should tell them what to do. No, we have no right to choose a candidate for you. Our right is to agitate for what is right. Because everything about all the comments on social media, I was like, it's you, we have been waiting for you to come and tell us who to vote for. No, I will pick my candidate. I will choose a candidate when the right time comes. But that doesn't stop me, you know, from saying that this is my candidate because I am an activist. No, I'm not going to do that. It's my right. I have to vote. If I have been craving for people to get their PVC, I also have my PVC. So we're going to peg a candidate down.
Where does activism stop and politics start? Because we've seen so many people. I've been on this show for over 9 years now, going on 10. So I've had a lot of people on this show over the years who I know are now in governments at different levels, you know. And, you know, a lot of them sounded like you. I'm not accusing you of anything.
Yeah,
but a lot of them sounded like this back in the day. You know, very passionate, fighting. And 2-3 years later, we realized, oh, okay. This is where this was leading up to. So where does the line get dropped?
You know where it changes, like you said, is the risk involved, is the lives online. It gets to a point, and I have also gotten to that point, like when you keep agitating, they come to you. They want to know, okay, is she like, okay, this person wants to come into politics, and if you have that intention, you will budge. I can say it loud and clear that I've gotten 3 offers to run for vice presidency in this same incoming election, and I've said no. So there's always a point, there's always like that peak point where your life, they start to threaten you, they start to say you're not supposed to say this, you said this, and they offer you. And I have gotten all those offers longest time ago. So this is not the right time for me, or the wrong time, or this is not even the time for me. I have stated it clearly. I am never going to go into politics. Whatever offers they've brought, I've always turned it down. You know, I woke up in my room in Dubai the other time, some few months ago, and I met politicians at my doorstep. I don't know how they got to know I was in Dubai. Same thing in the UK. So activists go that route. But for me, it's a no. I don't have intentions. Because you know why? Whatever you can do in politics, you can do it outside politics. Because once you get into politics, the thing is, you cannot beat them, you have to join them. You have to do it the way they do. It's a cabal, it's a system,
but
it's an institution.
True, like
one.
Everybody says you can't change from the outside. There's a reason why that saying continues to go on. You have to come in, infiltrate the system, and change it from the inside.
I don't think so. I've always told politicians who came to meet me like, join us, you make change. I said, I would rather make change from my space. I would rather make change from the space. I have created a space for myself, and it's to continue to say what is right. About 3 weeks ago, I was coming into the country. I saw the air conditioner at the airport was not working. I came out, I started screaming. I came in yesterday back into the country. The AC is working. Do I have to get into politics to make change? You don't have to get into politics to make change. It's a cabal. If you get there, too many things are happening.
But we live in a country where I don't think we've ever had a dearth of activists in our history. We've had the military for years. So we have activism in our blood because we've constantly had to fight government. Everybody will tell you that things are getting worse every day. So is activism really changing anything?
It is. It is. Trust me. It is. And I'm going to say this. One voice, 1 million votes might not make change, but one voice will make change. 5 voices will make huge change. And every voice is the only thing we have. That's the only inheritance we have. All our national treasures are gone. The only thing you and I have is our voice to make change. So the voice makes changes. For me, maybe the way I've been doing it, everything that I've said has been corrected. Everything that I've said has been corrected. Every complaint I make, they always come say, okay, come. On to International Women's Day, they had to bundle me into the National Assembly and said, okay, come.
Let me give you an example. Sorry, very sorry to cut you off, because you talked about everything you said have been corrected. We all protested in SARS. You were very active with that. SARS was scrapped, right? SWAT is there. With the stories about SWAT now are equally as deadly as SARS was. So what has changed?
Now, for the NSAS, I'm going to say this. The change was so close. But how strong are we as agitators? Because the time when we should come to the round table, everybody backed out. Everybody ran away because nobody wants to be held down. Some people say, oh, my child, don't go, this. But they're calling us for, okay, let's... You see, let me tell you something about change. Change, the voice of agitation has to be consistent. It's not that there's an event, everybody comes out and starts shouting and start doing this. If we were persistent, we would have gotten it. If we sit down at their doorstep, we would... But did we do that? We didn't do that.
People were shot.
One person will die. I'm never scared to die as an agitator.
But not everybody can afford to want to die.
Then that means we're not ready for the change. That means we're contented with the way our country is.
So how do you change that? I mean, whether you like it or not, and it's not just a Nigerian thing. Around the world is the reason why protests, when they get deadly, get stopped. We've seen it in Hong Kong. We've seen it in places, even in the United States. Once people see guns, it's natural human instinct. So how do you tell the average Nigerian to... You said, you have to sustain the protest or your campaigns or whatever. How do you get people to do that?
The way to get people to achieve what we want is we have to keep changing the dimensions of agitation. At a point, we all gathered at the NSAS ground. Do you understand? Everybody, your people were killed and everybody left. That still doesn't stop us from talking from our own space. But some people tell you, they're going to block my page, they're going to come and... Let me tell you something about politics today. You see these people called politicians, they are scared of we citizens. And we citizens are scared of them. That's the problem. A lot of people have not been able to identify that the politicians are scared of us. I remember during the NSAS, the only thing that was making Buhari panic is like, these people are taking over my system. And he was at a huge unrest. He was scared. He was worried. And look at us. Common military came, pa, pa, pa. They shot, everybody ran home.
It's not very common, but...
It's not very common.
You said common military. I don't know if they're common.
They are common military. I didn't say anything special about them because that has been the same pattern they use. They don't have any new strategies for us.
I think we have about 20 seconds to go because we have, I want to say, 10, 11 months, about 10, 9 months to the elections next year. What's the place of activism or activists in the election season? What can we, as we're all supposed to be activists, right? What can we do?
For this time, I think what we need to do now is for us to all have a common interest and a common mind. Because if you look at the Nigerian youth, we are divided. Our concentration is totally divided. And I've been hearing a lot of politicians, like really and truly, they know how to win elections. So now, I think this is the right time where everybody should feel this, our same generation, where we call the Sorosoke generation, all of us should come together. Let me tell you something, Ebuka. Mechanics know where they meet. Engine oil sellers know where they meet. Pepper sellers know where they meet. All of these people, you and I, where do we meet to discuss national issues? We don't have.
So final note, I mean, you have realized that your words have power. Are you going to change how you deliver your message? Because sarcasm obviously doesn't work.
No, that was the
On
first. That was the
sensitive
first
issues like that.
sarcastic.
So have you learned from that?
And
you realize
yes.
how it was misconstrued?
Yes, I've learnt that, and obviously, whether they like it or not, I'm just going to go back to my old style. Let's keep dragging each other. We're going to keep dragging each other because basically that works for me. So this sarcasm, people don't want it at all. And you know the truth about it,
Right.
it helped me. You know why it helped me? This same pressure that is coming from the family side and the outside social media side, they were able to identify that, okay, truly this is the situation of this candidate.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll keep watching you, watching this space. Like I said, election season is hot and every day is a new one. Hopefully we'll get through it peacefully. Thanks for being here.
By God's grace.
We'll take another break and be right back. Please stay with us. All right, welcome back. We're going to be switching our conversations now and talking fashion, but with a bit of a dimension to it. Sustainable fashion is something that's become very sort of a hot topic across the world. We're trying to understand what that means for Nigeria. I mean, we love our fashion here, definitely, but sustainable fashion, is it something that we can sort of adapt our lifestyles to? I have here with me Mary Adora, who's a fashion journalist. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Ebuka.
Yeah,
Good to be here.
It sounds like a very big word when you hear sustainable fashion.
It does.
And everybody just thinking, when you hear sustainable, you're thinking climate change, what's going on? This is such a big, hot topic. What does sustainable fashion mean? Let's start with that.
Interestingly, it's very easy. It's pretty much just being conscious about what you do if you work in fashion or if you consume fashion, if you look at fashion, if you love fashion. Yeah. It's just being conscious about what you do, about how you're producing fashion, how you're wearing fashion, what type of pieces you're wearing, and just that whole ecosystem of being conscious of fashion's consequences on the environment.
Yeah, I asked that because I hear sustainable and I'm thinking, oh, recycled. Do I not throw my clothes away? Is that literally all it is?
That's not all it is. There's a lot to go in. So it's at different levels, from the production level to the consumption level. So for designers, for example, how are you producing? What fabrics are you using to produce? Are you harming the environment with your dyes, with your, how exactly are you producing? And for consumers like us, how are you taking care of your outfits? For example, I'll throw the question back to you. What do you do with your old suits? You have so many wonderful suits. What do you do with them? Do they just end up being trashed after they don't fit you? Do you hand them down? Do you donate them? Do you resell them? So it's just that whole process of making sure that the life cycle of our fashion choices continue over the years.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like, it's so hard
it's not.
to do. But there's this other side, where I was reading up on this before the show, and I started thinking about jobs. You mentioned dye now.
Yeah.
There's a huge tie-dye, industry in Kano, in parts of the Southwest as well, where they still do it the local way, or the traditional way, for want of a better word. I also read somewhere that cotton, for example, is not very sustainable because when you wash cotton, it needs more water, so you are consuming more water. And I'm wondering, there's cotton farmers everywhere as well. What happens to industries like this is what people start thinking. Should we tackle this, in a different way? We're already crying about jobs. How does sustainable fashion help with creating jobs?
So interestingly, I think, like you said at the beginning, sustainability sounds like such a cumbersome term. And when you start to break it down, you find that it's not as hard as you think it is. So for example, you spoke about dye and traditional ways of making dye. And those ways are not as harmful as the chemical and more industrialized ways of making dye, for example. So it's more of natural products, the way we do it back here, back home. But when we now talk of on a larger scale, people are using more chemicals that are harmful, and the way they even dispose of it. So like emptying them into streams where people drink from, people eat from, etc. So it's not as complex as that. There are still opportunities for job creations, especially in terms of handwork, handcrafts, and which is what we're trying to go back to in terms of sustainability. Yeah. Handcraft, hand-produced, locally made stuff. There's a huge industry for that right now, especially in Nigeria.
Is that something that's sustainable?
Yeah.
And I'm talking more long-term, because we're all clamoring for a time when we'll be able to mass produce things, but you're talking handcrafting. are we going to be able to have like sort of like a retail chain for a designer who wants to make thousands of outfits that are handwoven?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll cite a designer, Emi Casbet, Emmanuel Okoro, who owns Emi Casbet, and he does fantastic work with Akwete fabric, and he's been doing this for a while now. And he started with, I think, about 5 hand weavers who weave his fabrics, and then they deliver all across the world. And now he's trying to set up a hub where they are 10 to 100 weavers who are creating these fabrics, training people. You can send your children there for some kind of boot camp, you know, training them to know how to hand weave. Imagine the number of products we can get from 100 hand weavers for a period of time if they're well taken care of course, ethical, in an ethical situation, as opposed to mass producing with chemicals, mass producing with sweatshops or places that are not ethical, where you are paying them below average wage, etc. So yes, we are able to use handcraft, hand-woven, hand-done things the way we usually do them in the traditional sense of things. We are able to do that on a larger scale, but not as fast fashion would take it. But that's where now the consumer patience, I would say, and the consumer understanding of sustainable fashion comes in.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Nigeria, does this look realistic? Because, I mean, it's nice. And I think a lot of people, when they get explained, understand.
Yeah.
But is it realistic? Because we even have the industrialized countries today who know all about climate change. They have all the buzzwords, but nobody wants to really do anything, because things like coal, for example, are easier. You know, they're worried about losing jobs. Mining, I'm talking on the larger scale now of, you know, sustainability. But with fashion even, we're in a country where we're still even grappling with the basics. Is sustainable fashion really going to catch on here?
The truth is, I believe personally that balance is one of the key things in life. And once there's an excess of something, there will always be trouble, there will always be problems. So a balance is really needed right now. We've seen an influx of a lot of fast fashion brands in Nigeria, and we've seen that this has led to a lot of fashion waste in the country. If you go around, you see so many landfills, you see like a truckload of things packed together alongside the bottles, the plastic bottles, but we also get to see clothes that are disposed of. Why are they disposed of? Because it's fast fashion, and then you bought it for a certain amount of money that's not very significant. You wear it 3 times and then it's done. But if we continue to educate people on this consciousness, on the consciousness of what exactly it is they're buying, I think people will be able to catch on. And I think it's from, in terms of consumption, it's from the highest level, from celebrities to the grassroots levels, to media publications talking more about it, to this type of interviews that we're having right now. Yeah. I think it's a full circle thing. Once people get to understand what exactly this is, I believe it'll catch on. And I think it's really catching on. We have a lot of thrift brands, even from before it became thrift in Nigeria, it was Okrika, and people used to go and shop Okrika easily. Yeah, although they didn't used to say it, bend down select. They didn't used to say it, but they would shop Okrika. But now we're catching on much more to thrift culture, and I think that's growing incredibly well, and it's something we should continue to be proud of. Yeah. Example, the AMPC is yesterday. I feel like if some celebrities wore pieces that was worn 8 years ago or 5 years ago, it'll be great to say, oh, hi guys, I actually did wear this 6 years ago and I'm wearing it today again, showing that power in re-rocking and not just always constantly adding things to your closet. Yeah.
You mentioned the Mikasbit there, and I'm wondering, with Nigerian designers, is he the exception? Are you seeing a trend of it starting to catch on with our designers here? Yes. Who do amazing work, by the way. Yes. Sustainable fashion is what I mean. Our
designers are absolutely amazing. I have seen so much growth in the Nigerian fashion industry from about 10 years ago till now. We've seen growth of people being proud of using our local stuff, using cowries as beads, as buttons, using coconut husk to make some very interesting things. There's so many brands that are producing ethically right now, and are even doing it on a large scale. We have the likes of Bio, Andrea Dumebi Yama of Andrea Yama. We have so many of them who are doing great things on a larger scale, and I don't think it's a trend. I feel like we've passed the stage where it was a trend, and now it's the real thing, and even younger designers are looking up to them to offer guidance.
I think we're supposed to be joined online by Swanky Jerry. Okay, Maya, if you're there, can you hear me? How are you doing? If you can hear me. Okay, he's not. Okay, I think we're still expecting him to join us.
Okay.
But let's just talk a little more about it. You didn't mention, when I talked about cotton, you didn't have an opinion on that.
Well,
because cotton farming is a global industry,
yes,
in the billions of dollars. What happens to that? Does this mean that cotton is bad? Because I want to believe a huge percentage of what we all wear is made out of cotton. And what are the options for farmers, for example?
Right.
What sort of fabrics, what sort of material are more sustainable if we're going to start looking at options?
To be honest, like I said, it's all about balance. We cannot deny that cotton is very important, but how are we treating the farmers? So in addition to sustainable practices, one thing that's also important is ethically treating your workers right. So a lot of things that sustainable fashion experts always talk about is sweatshops, for example, where fast fashion brands have people in these sweatshops and they're like 100 people in one small cramped building and they're earning below wage and they're trying to produce as fast as possible. So how are you treating these farmers that are doing this whole process for you? I think that's an important aspect to tackle it from. Are you paying them well? Are they, if you're going to pay your cotton farmer 50 naira and you're going to sell your outfit for 300,000 naira, I'm not sure that's fair, because you have to weigh the profit you're making versus the cost of production, basically. So I think that's one aspect to tackle it from. In terms of alternatives to cotton, I'll be very honest, I'm not very sure. I'm still reading much more about that, because I know cotton is very, very key in terms of fashion production. Yeah. But I would say always balance things out, especially for designers who are just trying to get into sustainable fashion. Start small, start with what you know, what you're familiar with, and read and always research on it.
You talk about re-rocking there, and it's one of the things that a lot of people in fashion are always debating. You know, should you wear an outfit twice, especially if you're like a huge star, if you're a trendsetter? Also things go out of fashion. And I wonder. I guess my question is, you are a fashion journalist. You've seen things come and go. I mean, the baggy pants are back again in a different form. 2 years ago it was skinny jeans.
Yeah.
What are you looking at in the next year, maybe, that you think might start making a comeback again? Because it's surprising what comes back. Things we swore would never wear again.
Anything can come back, to be honest. Anything can come back, and I'm not even surprised anymore. But I would say, I would advise not to think of trends or not to look at trends, because it's all it's a revolving circle. It always just goes back round and round. And I was so grateful last year. I was able to re-rock something my mom had in her closet for 15 years, and I wore it for an event, and everybody's like, oh, this is beautiful, this is lovely. And I was very happy. It gave me a lot of joy to be able to do that. So you see how that kind of transcends. From 15 years ago, when my mom carried it, she tied a gele with it. But now I wore it as a two-piece and it was beautiful. I think these are conversations, especially from the more visible level, that should be had with celebrities and influencers. I think we need to latch on more into that whole re-rock culture. Yeah. It is something that has been so downplayed, and it seems almost like a taboo when you say, oh, you wore this before. But like, oh my God, does she not have clothes or does she not have money? But it's really not like that. It means that you value your clothes, you are conscious about how you're taking care of your clothes, and you're able to re-rock it another time, and I think it's very important. In terms of trends, I would say the Ashoke trend is coming back, so you guys watch out. I'm in love with Ashoke right now. Yeah.
True that. I mean, talking about re-rocking, Kate Middleton, Princess Kate.
Yeah.
is one of the biggest advocates of that, and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
There's always a before and after.
I love it.
That she throws in there. I mean, if the Princess of England can do it, I don't know anyone else that should be complaining. Yeah. But you mentioned the MVCs earlier, and I want to go into that now. And let's talk fashion.
Fashion.
Sustainable or not?
Oh, no. We'll be
and I just want to go through a few people who
definitely
caught people's attention.
Okay, sure.
There were 2 winners of the best dress category at the MVCs yesterday. We'll find out if you I guess I wanted to find out what you thought about the choices. But let's start with a few people who caught our eyes. First up, I think, is EGBUSON, who is, I think her movie was nominated yesterday, Neck at the Pretty Serpent. She's also worked on TV. We'll see what she had on and what you thought about her dress. But generally, first of all, before we look at them, what did you think of the fashion yesterday? I
think people came to slay.
Okay, that's her.
Yes, Idia looked beautiful. I love Idia. She always knows how to hit on the red carpet. I absolutely love this color on her. I think it really popped on her skin tone. It's very edgy with the big
I was going to say, sometimes you wonder what is too much and what is enough.
I think for Nigerian fashion and red carpet fashion, nothing is too much.
It's crazy.
Really.
Just here, like anything goes.
Anything goes, really.
As long as you can pull it off.
As long as you can pull it off, take the perfect pictures, get your angles right, I think it works. So it works for her. She looks amazing.
So you thought she looked good?
I thought she looked good.
Because I looked at the boy, I was like, this is heavy.
It's heavy.
But then she carried it well.
I mean, when there's fashion, what's practicality? Throw it to the wind.
So she definitely was one of the best for you.
I liked it. I won't say one of the best, but I liked her look.
Liked her look, okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at TIMINI now, because that was a huge talking point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, it's a black tie event. He had this jacket that had so much bling on it. And they looked like something that looked like a skirt or something under the jacket, and then there were pants under.
Yes.
You know, there's something also across the jacket in front. We're like, is this a black tie outfit? But aside that, did he look good enough to be one of the best on the day?
I think he looked good enough for men's style on the red carpet. Swanky did this look, and I think he looked really good. I mean, skirts with tuxedos have been from time immemorial, if we're being honest. Brands like Comme des Garçons are always champions of this. I think it was a well put together look. I loved the jacket. I think the whole look was by Seven de Jana, but I absolutely loved the whole look. It was edgy, it was fun. I mean, fashion is to be played around with, so I can't fault the look as long as he felt comfortable and happy wearing it.
I looked at a lot of fashion yesterday with the men, and I think I Googled best dressed men at the Oscars 2022. Yeah. And it was just so interesting how different the red carpet culture in Nigeria is. Everybody on the list from the Oscars wore a tuxedo. Just wore a tuxedo.
White shirt.
Like 80% of them were just in black tuxedos. And you look at the Nigerian list and it's just, people are really very
it's
I find
wonderful.
it fascinating.
We're so unique. I love it. I love, everywhere I go, people always compliment Nigerian fashion. And I love it so much. We're very vibrant. We're very expressive. We like to go, we like to do. We love it. I like it.
All right, let's look at Osasi Godaro, who ended up winning the Best Dressed Female award on the night, voted for by the viewers, by the fans, and all of that. She also won an award as well as Best Actress in a Drama for Rattlesnake. So it was a big night for her. To look that great, to win an award, it looked like everything just came in perfectly. What did you think of her outfit, Osasi Godaro?
I loved her outfit. I absolutely loved her outfit. I know people tend to always go for sheer and body hugging on the red carpets, but I love the extended train, and I love that it was a different color.
This is not Osasi Godaro on TV, by the way. This is still TIMINI, but we're talking about Osasi Godaro.
Osas looked amazing. She bodied the look. She bodied the look. She absolutely did. I loved her makeup. It was simple and sleek. I loved the extended train. She looked pretty. She looked like a flamingo. I loved it.
It's a very interesting line, you know, with what female fashion has become now. There's a lot of talk about the corsets and the rhinestones and the sequins. It's like you have these things and you're good. These three things and you're good. You know, it looked like she might, I don't know about the corsets with her, but okay, it looks like there might have been a corset. But the rhinestones and sequins also came into play. Yes. So what makes one work and not the other?
So
like what made hers work?
I think as a designer, you just have to know what is enough and what is too much. So I like that even with the corset, it's not a corset pretty much. It's just a design. It's detailing, and then you can still see her stomach. You can still see her chest area. So that upper area is very sleek and very simple. Then it flows all the way down, and it's much more dramatic. And I really like that. I mean, I just think sometimes for fashion, less is more, but also just add a wow effect. And I think the train was the wow effect for this look, and that made it really work.
Let's go now to DENOLA Gray, who won the best man at the event, the best dressed male at the event. What did you think of this?
DENOLA never misses. I love how he knows how to dress for himself. He expresses himself with fashion, and that outfit was wonderful. I actually didn't expect that it would be from Uncle Mai, it would be from Maya Tafo, because it was very much very edgy with all the embroidery.
Because Atafo can mostly classic.
Mostly classic suits. So I didn't know until I checked this out. I'm like, oh wow, from Atafo. I think it was a brilliantly done suit, and I love his accessorizing. DENOLA is always very graceful. I love it. He just comes through. I absolutely love the look.
And the color, I think, was what also worked.
Yes,
and DENOLA takes a good picture, so.
He takes great pictures. I absolutely love the color. Yes, like you mentioned, the color was great.
Definitely deserves it. There was Chioma Akpota as well, Tacha Akide, Daniela Fiong, Bimbo Ademoye, Nancy Sime, Erica. These were all people that everybody thought, did amazing. This was Chioma, who's ageless, I'm sorry, continues to look amazing. Ageless. What did you think of her?
I think she looked great. It was a beautiful look for the event. I think it was okay.
I think what is this color was quite popular in the night. It's almost like a silverish, grayish,
I mean, because people always associate awards nights with like glamour and glitz, so everybody wants to sparkle. Everybody wants to look very shimmery. Tacha looked amazing. Yes, I from the hair, the picture to the makeup, I think she looked beautiful.
Can we talk about the photographers at awards these days? It's like a whole industry now.
Honestly, I was seeing the pictures. I was
full-on shoots.
Full-on editorial shoots. It was really something.
Like this could be a magazine cover.
Yes, it was. This was because everything matched. Very structural.
Look at another one. This could be a magazine cover.
Yes.
This is Daniela Fiong.
He looked really great.
This was very interesting because people kept saying, so how is he going to unbutton his outfit? What is this about? Did he wrap himself in? But I guess maybe if you looked at it closer, you would understand. But it was interesting.
Yes, I think he looked good. So I liked the jacquard jacket, and then that addition was statement making.
It's one of those things that you say, with the black carpets, you keep it clean. But now we're pushing the boundaries as much as we can. Like I said, there was also Bimbo Ademoye, Nancy Sime, and Eric and Lewedim. They were all, talked about.
Yes. I think Nancy's look was understated. Bimbo looked great. She looked very simple and chic. I like the show. They're just sexy and a bit sultry. I like that without showing too much. I think it was good. I think it was a good look. Red always wins.
But do you think Nancy was understated?
Yes, I think Nancy's look was very understated. First of all, she was wearing this brilliant designer who is from Kosovo, somewhere like that, and he's dressed Beyonce, Cardi B, and people kept saying, from the comments I saw, people were like, oh, what's this? No, I think it's the intricacy of the outfit that's just everything. Look at the beading details on the chest with that draping. I really hope the look stayed this way all through and just looked beautiful. Her purse matched the outfit perfectly. I think she looked very goddessy. In my opinion, I think she looked like a sort of goddess in that look. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, of course, finally Eric and Lewedim, who had the train of life.
Yeah, the train of life. A very
dreamy, 8 people needed to be around her for her to move. But she looked stunning. Yes,
very dreamy. I actually really loved it without because there was another picture where she had just the bustier and then the gown.
Without the train.
Yeah, without the train. I really loved that look, but it was very dreamy.
Definitely easier to walk without.
Yes, very princessy.
Yeah, let's take a look at some other people who were talked about, but on a more controversial level.
Yeah.
First off, Pretty Mike, who we all know does it intentionally now. He attends weddings. He went to a wedding with coffins one day, and I'm just like, what is going on here? He's attended with maidens, with all sorts of people. But he came yesterday in I'm not sure what it was on his head, and it looked like he was wearing a cloak, and then he had a baby goats, and everybody was like, this is Asun you're carrying around here. Why are you? What's really going on here?
Oh my God.
What did you think when you saw Pretty Mike? I mean, he loves the attention, and he's not going to stop.
Someone actually sent me the video before we saw photos. I was like, oh, here's what he's wearing. And I was just like, you know what? Fashion is self-expression, I guess. So, do you if you feel confident. I mean, I understand why he does it. He does it for, the trends and everybody to talk about the look. So yes, if it got people talking, I think it's achieved its purpose. Yeah. It's very gothic and very dark, but I guess it works.
Like I said, he's not going to stop. He loves it. He enjoys the attention.
Yeah.
Pretty much. We can't see the baby goat here. But he did have a goat on his hand. Or it was a baby ram. I don't know what it was, but it was something on his arm.
Yes.
Next we have Lateef Adedimeji and his wife, who people called out a lot. I'm not sure why, but I don't know what you thought about maybe her dress. Did you think it was too much going on?
I think it didn't photograph well at all. I think it did not photograph well. I would like to see it in
Velvet
motion.
can be very tricky.
Yes, exactly. So both of them, they did not photograph well. But I would like to see her dress in motion to fully judge. But I feel like it could, if the photographs were taken from a different angle, maybe if she was seated and then it was flowy around her and he stood or did some sort of romantic pose or something, it might have worked much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also the color and the picture, that purple.
Because I saw them on the red carpet. I didn't know that it looked that bad. I saw them up close.
So
to be honest.
so
I didn't
maybe
think it looked that
I
bad,
think
but
it just
yeah.
didn't photograph well.
Yeah.
But her makeup is stunning. She looks beautiful.
Yeah. Apparently, people called out VANDORA as well. I'm not sure what you thought of this.
I think she did a little too little. She did too little. I think that's what people have.
Okay, it's a little too understated for a glam event.
Yes, for the AMVCAs, I think it's a little less red carpeting and more.
People had a lot of issue with the veil on her head. Like, what was
She
that
just wanted
supposed to
to
be?
add like a pump to the look. I get it, but it's the AMVCAs, you know. It's not just the movie premiere. So
Yeah.
I understand their frustrations. But do you, babes? Like, it's just for you.
We also had Follow Storms, who I got dragged a lot on Twitter for, because I interviewed her on the red carpet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I love your hair, which I honestly did, because it was like platinum blonde hair.
Yeah.
And they said, Buka, you're lying. I'm like, but I like the hair. Why can't I like the hair?
She was going for a futuristic look. Maybe people didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because with the silver top area, with the blonde hair, with the very, very bright green, I think it was a futuristic look. But maybe if we ask her about it, she'll tell us more. But I think it was a futuristic look. I think put apart, it looks like an outfit pulled right off a runway. Maybe put with certain pieces set apart, like maybe the upper region off, and then maybe a different hairstyle might have worked differently. But maybe it was futuristic. Yeah, she was going for.
I mean, there were so many other people who were talking about. There was Dane Relay, who looked like a chandelier. There was Tiana, who also got called out for her. She had a mask.
Yes, she had like a horn.
A mask with a horn.
Yes.
There was Ifu Enada, who had a skirt with skulls. There were so many people who got called, but I mean, we were out of time. So just quickly now, do you agree with the choice for best male and female dressed?
Yes, I thought they were the best. Yeah, I thought they were the best dressed, male and female. They looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, what that tells me is that, you know, the red carpet culture or the black tie red carpet culture is completely different.
It's completely different.
You can do anything.
You can.
As long as you can work it.
Yes, and that's why I'm really happy. I mean, at the beginning of our conversation, we're speaking about sustainable fashion, and I believe it's something that's definitely going to work here because we have a different mindset around fashion. Yeah. Even though we try to follow trends sometimes, we still have our unique decision about fashion. Yes.
Thank you very much. That was fun.
Thank you so much.
I totally enjoyed that.
I did.
Please come back again.
Definitely.
Like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. Please use the hashtag #RubbinMinds when you send us a message. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next Sunday.